Metro Atlanta Urban Farm would like to thank Rainbow Push and the Reverend Jesse Jackson for this opportunity to share with farmers across this great nation of ours. Metro Atlanta Urban Farm has put its focus on agriculture, growing food, education, training the next generation, and taking care of the environment. And most of all, making sure that we leave this earth in better shape than what we found it. We have also put ourselves in a position that when we need to pivot, we are able to do so. A good example would be COVID-19. During COVID-19, Metro Atlanta Urban Farm fed more than 20,000 families across this great nation of ours. I would like to leave you with these words. Metro Atlanta Urban Farm believes that farming is more than planting a seed and watching it grow. It's about education. It's about training. It's about teaching. It's about understanding the importance of the therapeutic value that comes from working in the soil. Metro Atlanta Urban Farm and Community Garden, we are about building stronger and healthy communities across this great nation of ours. Thank you, Reverend Jackson.
So to begin part two of the discussion, we've added Mr. Joe Leonard and Bobby Wilson to the conversation. Joe Leonard, former USDA official under the Obama administration. Bobby Wilson, who is an urban farmer here in the Metro Atlanta area. So we're going to go to Joe Leonard very quickly, and then we're going to go to Bobby Wilson to present some questions from some of our farmers. Mr. Leonard, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
More than anything, I think it's important to start off by saying that, I even said, and Mr. Black will tell you, in one of our last meetings, I said, I've never seen folks in a state that work so well together than Georgia. I think I even told you it was a somewhat of a Georgia mafia, regardless if it's Democrat or Republican. They work well together and have worked well together at agriculture. And Georgia has led the way. Georgia has absolutely led the way. Georgia led the way in voting. And voting is so vital. It is vital. If folks don't vote in Georgia, frankly, throughout the nation, but then lastly, in Georgia, and let me specifically say, if African Americans don't vote, you have 2 African Americans on the Senate Ag Committee. 2, one of them from Georgia. You have the chairman of House Agriculture from Georgia. You have the subcommittee chair on agricultural appropriations from Georgia. Voting works. Voting works. Voting works. And more than anything, because African Americans have voted in the numbers that they have, now guess what happens? Now Chairman Scott and others are going to be able to appoint the RD State Director. They're going to be able to appoint the Farm Service Agency State Director. And those are the persons that need to help those farmers directly in the state of Georgia. Georgia's RD budget is almost $1 billion. Yeah, I think it's a little over $1 billion. And that is vital to get that funding to the farmers. What I've provided is a litany. The other piece that Chairman Scott said is it's absolutely right. Black farmers need partners in the larger ag community. You need partners up and down the supply chain. They need market for their crops. You need to have people on these ag boards. The ag boards in the United States are the most segregated of any industry. The ag boards have been around since literally the 17th, 18th century. They've been around a long time. So in addition to in addition to needing USDA's assistance, in addition to having that farm service agent at the desk to review their loan form or micro loan or an FSA farm ownership loan or an FSA farm operating loan, to look at it in an objective fashion. Once they receive the funds and they put that crop in the ground, they also need to receive a market to sell the crop. And that's one of the things that I heard Commissioner Black talking about, is that organizing producers to go to certain stores to be able to sell their crops on a consistent basis. They already have to go against the weather, drought, all of these other things. You must have that consistent supply chain. You can put the best laws in effect in Washington, D.C., but they've got to work in these rural counties. And that's where the USDA workers must serve all the populations in the same way.
I want to thank you so much, Joe, for that information and that update. I want to turn it over to Bobby Wilson. Bobby Wilson's with the Atlanta Urban Farmers. He can give us a ground level view of some of the issues particularly affecting farmers in the South, and also to interface with our public policy experts on some of the needs of Black farmers, particularly in this region. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Bobby Wilson.
I think we need to make sure that the laws that we develop, that the laws must work for all people the same way. And the same thing I say about programs. Programs must work the same for me as they do for other people. And I'm gonna echo some of the other things that have been said, but before I do that, we have the opportunity to put together some training programs that can have a tremendous impact upon new and beginning farmers. I was on the ground for the Federation of Southern Co-ops up in Cleveland, Ohio, on behalf of Congressman Marcia Fudge with the High Tone Initiative program. We put on the ground more than 150 high tones over a period of time, so that urban agriculture could get up off the ground, that they could do some things with those vacant lots and put them into production and using agriculture as a tool to do so. We do need access to markets. And I think what Commissioner Black has shared with us is an excellent idea, but I also have some other ideas in terms of making sure that farmers and urban farmers are able to get their produce to market. We need to assure that minority farmers have input into the farm bill. So in the past, the thing that I understood the most, that if we're going to do something, it's got to get into the farm bill. So we need to make sure that the average farmer is part of the listening sessions that take place before the farm bill is put up for a vote. Minority representation at the state level is so important for USDA. And the minority people that we put in place, we need to make sure that they have some power. We know that most of us are oftentimes put in place, but we don't have the power to make no decision. We need an increased representation for minorities in these rural offices across the state.
Mr. Bobby Wilson brought up an excellent point. And my staff has informed me that just in our last farm bill, we created an urban agriculture program that is specifically designed to help groups like Mr. Bobby Wilson was talking about, to train more urban farmers. if we want urban farmers, we got to help them to do that. The other point is that what I'm advocating is up and down the food chain, the processors, from the time the farmers produce a product, but they can't stay in business if folks out there not buying that Black farmer's product. So we need to move to give some incentives to various points on the food chain, on the processing chain, on the cotton chain, wherever that apex is, where the farm's product is sold to the market that moves it on down after the farmer has done his work. So this is one of the things that I will be bringing up in our Black farmers hearing. Not only dealing with discrimination, with programs and access to that, but we got to do more. Farming is a business, and that farmer needs to have a market there available with which to sell his product. People don't come as much as they may have one time, go out to the farm and buy directly a bottle of milk. Or I remember back in the farms, we used to have what we call hog killing season. And as you know, Commissioner, hog killing season is about right now. Where back in the old country farms, this was see to go kill the hogs. And we'd have pig feet there to sell, chitlins to sell, the whole 9 yards. People would come by at that point. But it's not like that anymore. So we have to look at the farming to see how we can increase the money making, the turning of the profit, not just the number of farms. And then we also have to look carefully at programs to make sure that we're not overdoing the process of helping our farmers. For example, we have a bill in now, I think we need to watch, which says we're going to pay off the Black farmers' loan debt. That's wonderful. But what we don't want to do is pay off that debt. Then the farmer ain't got no debt. He'll go and sell the land to a white farm. Some of that is happening. So we got to make sure that as we move these programs, we are growing Black farmers. Why did they go in debt? Why couldn't they pay their loan back? They couldn't do it because the marketplace wasn't buying his product. So doesn't it make more sense to look into the marketplace, see where that Black farmer is not getting the proper kind of relationships, the proper kinds of contacts that all the other farmers are getting, where they're making money. It's not just Black farmers that take loans. White farmers take loans, but they're able to pay their loan. They pay their bills. They make a profit. The Black farmer is in debt because he does not have the same level of access to make money to do that. When I was, one of the big things on our farm was tobacco. We had to plant that tobacco, sucker that tobacco, crop that tobacco, take it to the barn, string that tobacco, load it up into the barn, cure that tobacco. We had to grade the tobacco, tie it up, put it on the mule and wagon, and take it to Mullins to sell that tobacco. That is where we need to provide some intersection for our Black farmers at the marketplace to make sure he has the same access to selling his tomatoes, to selling his cotton, to selling his tobacco, his dairy, whatever it is he's producing. He needs to have the same access to get paid for what he is producing. And so that's my old business hat. I got my MBA from the Wharton School of Finance, as you may know, at the University of Pennsylvania. Commissioner, you know all the stuff we did down here when I was in the state Senate, chairman of the Senate Rules Committee. You have to go in and part those waters to make sure our Black farmers are getting the same opportunity and the same way of selling their product that our white farmers are getting. That is where there is a knot. There's a reason why these Black farmers are in this debt. Paying off the debt for them is a wonderful thing, but if you don't do anything else to address the problem of why they're going in debt, then we got a problem. So we've got to find a way to help with that, and that requires working with you, Commissioner, working with all the agriculture commissioners, because you deal with the entire marketplace. And if you come to us and say, Mr. Chairman, if we put a little incentive in here, if we put a little tax break in here, if we say now to help our Black farmers increase their product flow into the marketplace, which in turn increases the flow of money back to the farmer, then I will do that. Those are the kinds of opportunities that I'm looking to do. And when we understand that at the bottom line, it's the ability of our Black farmers to make money, turn a profit. That's the answer to the Black farmers' immediate problem.
I want to thank all of our guests for logging and spending a little bit of time this afternoon with us. We encourage all of you to join the Rainbow Push Coalition. You can do so at rainbowpush.org. There are not that many organizations bringing together state, federal, and even local officials to discuss issues specifically impacting Black farmers and urban farmers also. I thank all of you for joining us. And in the words of Reverend Jackson, thank you so much and keep hope alive.